Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the MakeCode Arcade Advanced stream. I'm Richard, at Richard on the MakeCode forums.
I'm Daryl, at Darzu on the MakeCode forums.
I'm Shannon, at Shakao on the MakeCode forums.
And I'm Vivian, at LiveTrip on the MakeCode forums. Shannon, you've made me so self-conscious.
Cracking up?
Daryl did it first.
Oh, gotcha. All right. We're going to be making a game today, and the prompt that we kind of came up with before the stream is we wanted to use an extension that we haven't used in a while, which is the settings extension. So real quick, I'm going to go ahead and add that to my project. You know, just like normal, go down to extensions, click this. If I type in settings, it should show up.
I've never used this extension before.
I'm
very curious.
You won't see these two cards because this is where I was developing this extension. Here's the real one. Cool. So the settings extension is very neat. It lets you save stuff to the device or to the simulator. It's worth noting right now that there's a bug where these blocks don't work on the share page. So if you've shared a link, you need to open it in the editor to actually use these settings APIs and see your progress get saved in between resets. But that's something we're working on fixing. So, but yeah, so it's kind of like the arcade sprite data. We can store them with a name and a value, and we can read them with the name as different types. But like I said, these kind of persist even if we reset the game. So I can demonstrate this real quick. I'm going to put a simple one called count. And I'm going to just create a sprite that is going to say our count on the screen. So if we run this program, we should see it say 0. Oh, right. The reason it's not printing anything is because of another bug, which if someone could write this down, that would be nice, where we're doing a falsiness check on the input and not printing it if it's falsy, but we shouldn't be doing that. Let's see, I need a text join. Oh no, right there. And I'm gonna make this to be count is. Now we should see it say count is 0. There we go. And if I change this, so let me go back into settings, grab this set one. So I'm going to set count to be count plus 1. Now, every time I press this reset button, or maybe not. Does anyone see what I'm doing wrong here?
You're always setting it to 0.
Oh,
yeah, you're setting it to 0.
Yeah, whoops. There we go. Now, every time I press the reset button, my game starts out with this number remembered. Cool. Anyway, that's that. Get out of here. Okay. So the idea that we
does that persist across browser reloads?
Yes, it will. I think it should. Doesn't it?
I'm pretty sure it does. Or it did for the garden game.
All right, wait. Let me undo my code. There we go. Now it's back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh, yeah, I remember how this works. So if you rename your thing, pretty sure that'll clear it. If I refresh now. It's possible that it won't clear it, actually. Because, yeah, there we go. So it cleared it because I renamed my project. So these settings are tied to your project name. If you change it, you're going to get something like this. It says undefined because I didn't set it to 0 in this case. But yeah, anyway, let's get rid of that code. All right, so anyway, the idea for the game that we had was something that was based off a toy that I think many of us had growing up, which is called Tamagotchi. And the idea was that you have a virtual pet. And this virtual pet had a number of things you could do with it. So you could feed it. You could play with it. And you could clean up after it, I guess. And the idea was that this virtual pet would remember kind of what state it had. And if you neglected it for too long, you didn't feed it, you didn't play with it, it would get really unhappy and eventually pass away. But I don't know if we're going to do that part. But we thought it would be cool to make kind of a virtual pet that remembers its state, even if you turn off your console and turn it back on. So you could kind of just walk around with this virtual pet in your pocket. So yeah, let's kind of get started with that. And I think the brainstorm we had beforehand was that our pet was going to be some sort of like robot. And the other kind of vital property of these things is that they change over time, so they get older. So we're going to have multiple forms. And I think for the not advanced form of this pet, it's just going to be a little cube.
With perspective, though.
What? Yeah,
Nice.
I'm not scrimping. Like that. There. No, I did this wrong. I think what I want to do is this. And we fill this in. And let's give it some soulless eyes. There we go.
Oh.
Doesn't this look like a friend?
It looks like a fixer-upper.
Hey, this is the best. All right, so let's just resize this canvas. Looks like 9:9, so 9. No, that was wrong. Should be 10. There we go. Cool. And we're going to add a new kind for this guy. It's going to be Buddy. So let's create a new variable, and this is going to be our Buddy.
Oh, you should get to name it.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you absolutely should. So, think that maybe we need to start with some explanation text, but I'm not going to add that right now. But we could say something like, "This is your buddy. Take care of him," and then I'll prompt you to name it. I'm not going to do that right now though, because that's going to be really annoying during the debugging process. So I'll add that code in later. For now though, let's talk about kind of the stats that our buddy is going to have. I think the main thing is we're going to have like how hungry our buddy is, how interested or not bored. Did we come up with a word for this?
Engagement. Enrichment.
Enrichment, yes. And then also kind of, cleanliness, and you're going to be able to take actions to kind of keep track of them. And I think we're also going to make it so that our little buddy animates a little bit while you're, around. So we might make like a room that the buddy's in for a background, and just have them kind of, jump around. So, all right, let's start though with, I think the basic UI stuff. So we're going to do a hunger function. We're going to do set hunger. And I think it's going to be, the number is going to be how hungry. So this is going to be a value that goes up, I think, as time goes by, or should it go down? Which makes more sense, do you think?
I think down is easier to understand. So I guess maybe it shouldn't be hunger.
So, yeah. Set stomach contents. And it'll take in a % full. And I think the easiest way to display this when we're displaying a number is to use Joey's awesome status bar extension. Cool. So the status bar extension is something that we use pretty often. And the first thing I'm going to do is when I call this function, I want to see if we don't already have a status bar, I'm going to create it. And let's rename this to be our hunger bar. And for now, let's go ahead and call our function, call set stomach contents, and we'll say like 80. So this hunger bar by default, sorry, what's up?
No, I just had some hunger facts, but you should talk about real things.
All right, so first thing I'm noticing is that it didn't show up, and that was because I didn't do this if not hunger bar. It should be if not, because that means it doesn't exist yet. And I'm gonna go ahead and make this a little bit wider. So I don't need to set the maximum value on this status bar because it starts out as 100. So all I need to do is just set the hunger bar to this % full, and we should see it change. Cool. So it's 80% full. And let's give this a label, I think. Now's a good time for hunger facts.
Oh, yeah, my grandpa says that you should never eat to 100% full. He always eats to 70%, and he's very healthy and very old. That's my hunger
How can you
fact.
tell what is 70%? Or is that just like life experience?
I think life experience, like you feel satisfied, you're not hungry anymore, but you could definitely keep eating, but you're like, no, I must live forever. 70% only.
You heard it here, folks. The secret to immortality.
70%. And if you die, it's because you did not maintain 70% the entirety of your life. So
It's probably a good idea to disclaim right now that you should not listen to anything we're saying.
Only things we say about coding are true on this stream.
yeah, I'm not a hunger scientist.
All right, so we've got our food bar. I'm going to go ahead and make another one now, and this one's going to be our engagement, I guess.
Mhm.
We could come up with a maybe play.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, play is good.
That's 4 letters. Set play satisfaction.
I'm distracted because I'm making Joey right now.
You're making what?
I'm making Joey so he can be on stream even when he's not here. I have the power of this. You'll see.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
All right. Well, I actually just want to duplicate all of the stuff that's in here. So I'm going to put it all into an if statement. We call this doing a Daryl. And duplicate it.
I feel like there are so many Daryl mannerisms, like the collapse all format, the backwards if statements.
He's truly a
Space.
block programming innovator.
Space.
I like to think of myself as a thought leader.
It's true.
I guess the term these days is influencer, right?
All right. So we've just copied the code over here. Instead of the % full, we're doing % satisfied. Changed the label, made it so that it's below. So I set the top to be 10. And let's go ahead and call this function and see what it looks like. %1 play satisfaction. There we go. All right. So that looks okay. Yeah, what's up?
Nothing.
All right. So I think next what we want to do is our first little bit of setting stuff. And I think what we're going to do is save this stomach contents and play satisfaction in our settings. So I'm going to go into the settings category these are both numbers. And I'm just going to drag out this block. It's going to be set setting, I guess, food to presentable. And we'll do the same thing down here. Okay, so we're storing this, but we're not reading it right now. And we want to change this code up here to not have these hard-coded values of 80 and 1. We want to make sure that we can actually set the values to some initial value that makes sense, and then on subsequent loads, so if you reset your game, we'll restore it to whatever you saved the last time around. And inside the settings category, there is a nice block for doing stuff like this, which is setting with name blank exists. So this block is really crucial for getting around that kind of undefined thing we saw earlier. You can't read a setting until you've set it. And if you've never set it, you can check for that using this block. All right, so if setting with name food exists, then that means we've created settings before. And we can call this set stomach contents and set place satisfaction with our saved values. If this doesn't exist, then we want to call with just whatever our initial values are going to be. And I think we'll just do 100 for both. Okay, so you notice my code didn't change, and that's because our test code was already setting these settings for us. It's really useful when you're working on games that use settings to put in a little secret to let you get rid of the setting. So I'm going to do an on B button pressed because I'm not using B yet. And inside of the settings, there is a clear all settings. And this will make it so that I can test my code. So now if I press B, my settings are cleared. It doesn't actually say anything, but it's cleared. And when I reset, we get that initial value code that we had before, this 100, 100. Awesome. All right, what should we do next? Maybe make those things go down? Maybe do the actual feeding or playing?
Yeah, making them go down.
Okay. Yeah, so for that, I think we're just going to use a nice little game update. Probably not on game update, probably on game update interval. And I'm just going to put 100 milliseconds for now. This is probably way too fast, but it'll make it nice for testing. So let's do that. And I think what we're going to do is pretty simple. We're just going to call this set stomach contents and set place satisfaction. I should have duplicated the other one. There we go. And we're going to subtract some value for it. 1.
I have more hunger facts. My band director said you should eat once every 3 hours.
Nice.
To 70% of whatever you're at, or?
This was a separate philosophy, different school of thought.
But if you combined them, you would be twice as healthy.
That's true. I have never tried to do the math for like optimum eating portions every 3 hours.
Oh, so I like this animation that's happening, but it's a little confusing on the initial load. And there's a way to turn this animation off, which is we have this property in here that is set smooth transition off or on. And I want to make it so that we're setting it for the first time, it won't do the smooth transition, but every time after that, it will. So it defaults to be on. And if I want to make it kind of have that behavior, since this is only going to run the first time, if I just set it to be on down here again, then for the first time, we'll set the value. And then afterwards, we'll get the smooth transition again. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. I really could have made this one function and just passed in the name, but oh well, too late. So now we start like that. If I clear my settings, oh, whoops, clear. Oop, what am I doing? Did I get rid of my clear code? Oh no, there it is.
Is it somehow updating it to be 0?
Are we updating your, yeah. Is the chapter going fast?
Oh.
Wait, so every 100...
I think I know what's happening. I'm pretty sure it's clearing the settings and then immediately setting them again to not a number. Because it's trying to read this and it's not a number. So I need to change this and make it so that we also call reset game. And this should fix it. There we go. Cool. All right. So what was happening there? Let me just kind of break that down a little bit. Is that, like I said before, you can only read a setting if it exists. And this on-game update doesn't have this checking if the setting exists or not. I probably should add that just to make this a little bit more explicit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get rid of these guys. And now we have that same check down here. But it was trying to read this, and it was getting something that was not a number because I hadn't set the setting. It was getting undefined, which is a fancy JavaScript term for something that is not defined. Anyway, if you try to subtract something from that, then you get not a number, which is a very helpfully named thing. And I'm not going to explain it, but basically it meant that this was broken. By resetting the game, I make sure that this on-game update doesn't run after the settings are cleared, and it fixes the bug. All right, cool. So we got our food going down, we got our play going down, and we're going to tweak this value later to make it so it's not quite so disastrous to stop looking at your buddy for a second. And I think maybe we're going to have like 2 options down here for now. So I'm thinking like this part of the screen is just going to be a nice little like home for our buddy. And then down here, we'll have just some big tile icons. One will be like food, and this one will be like play. And then this one over here will be like clean or something. I don't know. And you'll be able to kind of navigate with the arrow buttons to select them. So does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to make another function. It's going to be called create buddy menu. And this is going to create a few sprites for us. And I'm going to create a new kind for all of these menu items, just to make it easier for us to clean up later. So I'm going to do add a new kind. This is going to be menu element. All right, and now let's draw a food icon. I'm actually going to make this 32 by 32 so that I can have a little bit more room. And yeah, what should it look like? Any ideas?
What do robots eat?
Can't
Electricity.
Okay, electricity. Could be a light bulb.
Oh my god.
Ooh, I like light bulb.
Could it be like a light bulb with like some garnish on it?
A light bulb with a bite taken out of it.
Oh.
All right, guys.
I'm glad you have 32 pixels. Oh. What's the snake rhyme? Red and yellow.
Oh, yeah, what is it, Daryl?
Is Daryl there?
Red and yellow, fellow, red and black. Okay, Jack.
Wait, I think it's red and yellow. A friendly fellow, red and black. No friend of Jack's.
All right, once again, do not listen to anything we say.
One of these is right and one of them's wrong, and one of these will kill you.
Maybe just don't touch snakes.
Yeah, that's true.
Red and yellow is often coral snakes, which is often bad.
Red and yellow.
But it's like touching, right? Like many snakes have
Yeah,
all these colors.
Red touch yellow, and then that's maybe a coral snake. Red touch black, then it's probably a scarlet king snake, I guess, which is harmless.
Mm.
If any lawyers are watching this in the future, I'm not a part of this conversation.
Also, lawyers, have you seen all the snakes?
All right, how's this light bulb?
Yeah. I love the electricity. Squiggle.
It's the filament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's blue because of electricity, right?
It's blinding white.
All right, so we're gonna create a new variable for this, and it's going to be food option. Let's go ahead and create another one right now. This one's going to be for play. What do robots do for fun? A calculator?
Math.
This is going to be the world's most incomprehensible menu. I think you should definitely make it a calculator.
All right. Yeah, I was going to as soon as I said it. All right, do that. Give it a screen. And we're going to put in some buttons. Hey, did anyone ever write any cool programs for their TI-83 calculators?
No.
Me neither. I was always kind of like amazed that people could program those things.
One of my friends in high school is really into that and would do all his homework just by programming his calculator and having the calculator do it. But I was like, I think I can do my homework faster just by doing it. He might have learned more.
Oh, sorry.
No. Shannon, go.
Oh, I was going to say, did you ever do the thing where you programmed like equations into the calculator? Like for calc class or whatever? You could just save the
cheating.
A memory assist.
Ugh, I hate this blue.
Green?
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming, isn't it?
It's good with purple.
Yeah. Should I do dark purple for the out and then buttons light purple? And then I'll put some symbols and stuff on them?
Yeah, then you can do the screen as light purple too.
Cool, sounds good. All right. So I'm going to change this to some other color.
Oh.
And we're going to make it dark. And then we're going to go back to these colors. And probably change the outline to be boring. Maybe if I make these buttons closer together. And they have that like big button. That's like the enter button.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Why are some numpads like 1, 2, 3 on the top and some of them are 1, 2, 3 on the bottom? Does anybody know the history of numpads?
It used to be one of the most divisive issues in our country.
Really?
And we standardized it in the 70s, but not after the Second Civil War, which was, I don't know what I'm saying, guys.
I feel like at least up until this point, we've been trying to have helpful facts, but now we've gone off the rails into just lies.
Wild West.
No, but I knew that most calculators used to be infix, and then they switched to being postfix, and I wonder if it happened around the same time. My dad had an infix. My dad had an infix calculator, and I was always like, "Why does your calculator not work?"
What does that mean? infix?
It's the order of like
the order that you
entering
push
numbers
through.
versus
Or rather, wait, normal calculators are infix. They used to be prefix, I think, or postfix. Postfix, yes, postfix, where you would type the numbers and then the operation. You know.
Ooh.
All right, I'm gonna get rid of these fake numbers because I don't like them.
Ooh, that random dot pattern looks pretty good though.
Oh, really?
Just like erase across it. Yeah. Maybe?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's great.
I like it.
Oh, man. Oh, it almost had meaning. No.
All right, cool. So we got those two options. I'm just gonna stop here for now, and then we'll do another one if we want. Let me go ahead and create a new variable, which is going to be play option. Oops. Whoops. I just said oops instead of oops. That was weird.
I say oops. I feel like there's some subtle regional differences in our mistakes.
Wait, say it again, Vivian.
Oops.
I say
Mine's
oops.
like, I think you said ups.
Yeah, that was an accident. And I was like, that's weird.
Ups, ipes. Oops. Oops.
Eats apes. Cool. All right. Got this weird space calculator. And you know what? Let's set a background color too, because I don't like this black background color. Go into scene. We'll do like light green, maybe. I feel like we don't use the light green very much.
I think your status bar is filled green though.
Yes, that makes the status bars harder to read. Maybe we do.
It's easy to change the status bars though.
True.
But white on green is really hard to read, so we should.
There we go. Yeah, I think this is better.
Yeah,
right?
this looks good.
This is my favorite
right.
arcade color.
Ooh.
Let's go ahead and
Agreed.
set our positions. You can tell because Shannon's the one who made the sim.
Richard made the sim. I just like colored it in.
All right. So I think for the first, let's do the food option position. And we'll set it to be like, I don't know, there. Do the play option. And put it there. Cool. All right. And let me make these actually match. So Y is going to be 86, not 8,086. And awesome. All right. So now we need some sort of way to tell which one is currently selected. And I think the way that we're going to do that is I'm going to put a little cursor down here that's going to be an arrow pointing at it. And when you press left and right, the cursor will move between the options. And then when you press A, we'll get to whatever that does in a bit, I think. Okay. So for the cursor, I'm just thinking a triangle.
The most stable shape.
That's a
I
true
don't think-
fact.
Yeah, I can't get sued for that fact.
Let's see. That's no good. All right, you got to try and make it so that it is a consistent squiggle. That's fine. Gosh, it's so hard to do triangles.
You could just do like a 45 degree, no, right triangle. Is it also good?
There we go.
Hot take. I think Richard's thing is arrows. This is the second stream in a row that we've had arrows.
I feel like it's the second string total where I did arrows though. So
We'll see. I'm kind of sad I mentioned it now. Maybe now you'll never make arrows again.
One of
think about
Richard's things is definitely character art.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. So I'll let that one. There we go. That's okay. All right. And we're just going to put this below the sprite now. So I think what we're going to do is make another function, and it's going to be set cursor position. And it's going to take in a number, and this is going to be the index, I think, of the option. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to call this at the end. And when we set the cursor position, we're going to, based off of the number, decide which of these sprites we should be below. So index equals 0, that'll be the play option. Index equals 1, that'll be our, I'm sorry, I did that backwards. Index 0 will be the food option, index 1 will be the play option. So to set our position, we want to first set the X to be the same as the option we have selected. So, oh no, not food option. I want to set cursor, and I want to set the X to be the food option X. Do the same thing down here, but for the play option. And then we want to set the top to be the food option bottom. And we probably want a little bit of spacing. So I'm going to do like +3. Oh, whoops, I want to duplicate the whole thing. Now let's call set cursor position on 1. So this should be the calculator. Cool, there we go. And if we set it to 0, awesome. All right, and this triangle's too big. There we go. And now it's a little lopsided, but oh well. Okay. So let's go ahead and do our code for moving this cursor. And for that, we're going to make a variable. And it's going to be called cursor index. How many times have we made variables called cursor index?
At least 3 times.
2 of which were in the same game. I think we had, it was just 2 cursors in Sucromon, right?
I think so.
Okay.
The switch screen and then the main screen, I think.
I just remember looking in the variables list and one was called, there was something called cursor and something else called cursor sprite.
See what happens when you have, 3 different or 4 different developers working on the same thing.
Okay, so we want to say if cursor index is less than 0, then we want to put cursor index to be the maximum value. Normally I would do something else, but this code's easier to understand, so I'm going to write it this way. And we're going to set it to be the maximum value, which is 1. For right, we don't need to do this bit of fanciness. We can just do set cursor index to be, you know what, I'll make it symmetric though. I think that's probably the best way.
Wait, should the maximum value be 0?
No, the max value is 1, right? 0, 1.
Oh, okay, sure. I mean, on the left button press, when you set the cursor index, should that be 0?
So we change it by -1. If the cursor index is less than 0, then we want to set it back to the top value, so it wraps around. Oh, sorry, I guess that's kind of confusing, but I wanted to make it so that it wrapped around.
Makes sense.
All All right, so here we're going to do by +1. This one we're going to do if it's greater than 1. Then we're going to set the cursor index to 0. This gives us our little wraparound logic. And then finally, we want to call this set cursor position. And we're going to call it with the cursor index.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So I don't know if we'll have time to do like the full like little play mini game or food mini game, but for now, let's go ahead and add the code of when these get selected, and then maybe we can go back and fill it in with something more interesting later. So I'm going to create 2 functions. This one is going to be do play. And I'm going to create another function. It's going to be called do food feed. Do feed. And now we're going to put in a controller on a button press. We're going to check our index again. So let's go ahead and just duplicate this if statement. Don't need the stuff inside. And whoa, oh right, this index is a local variable, huh? There we go. And we're just going to call these 2 functions. So cursor index is 1, we want to do play. And if it's 0, we want to do feed. And like I said, I want to make this a little bit more interesting later, but for now, I think we're just going to, change the value of the status bar. So we're going to change play bar value by, I don't know, 10. And for feed, we'll do it for the hunger bar. Oh, right. We need to call our function. So what we actually want to do is read our setting and add. Hey, get in there. Oh no, this is that string. Whoops. Plus 20. And this will cause a bug. What I also want to do right now is I want to make sure that we never go above 100. And for that, we can do it using a min block. So the min block is pretty simple. It's kind of like an if statement, but just in a nicer form. And what it does, it says, if whichever of these values is lower, return that value. So it's the same as saying if A is less than B, return A, or the like. But it's less code. So I'm going to put min of this plus 20 and 100 because that is our maximum value. And let me squint to my screen real quick, and yes, that is a divide. So change it to plus every time. And now let's go ahead and call our other function, the set play satisfaction, and do the same thing, but we're going to do it with play set. Oh, I know what happened. So just like I said, we were doing the minimum before. We also want to do it here and make sure that we never go below 0. Because what's happening is this is going negative. We can't see it, but it is going negative. And it's just going to keep getting lower and lower. So we can do the opposite of the min trick using max. Works the same way, but we'll return the maximum of the 2 numbers and put 0 as the other argument so that we never go below 0. Cool. What a fun game we've made.
It's like speed running an incremental game. You don't get anything.
An incremental game that you have to keep monitoring and never gets more fun.
Yeah, there's no progress involved.
You literally just do this all day. Okay. So I think let's make our buddy a little more interesting. And I guess we should decide now. Do we want to keep doing this game tomorrow? Anyone?
I probably won't be leading, so I'm agnostic.
Vivian or Shannon?
If I lead, I'd be down to do it. But I also wasn't paying very good attention today. So I'd probably be very lost.
We can continue it.
Okay. We don't have to if we don't want to, but I'm going to finish up this code differently if we're going to continue it versus if we're not going to continue it. You know?
Let's continue. Well, at some point, at least. We should.
All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make our buddy a little bit more interesting. So I think I'm going to do some animations so that he kind of hops around. And I'm also going to make him say things depending on his current food or play, settings. So let's go ahead and grab out another on-game update. But let's do an interval again. And I'm going to make this every 1 second. And what I want to do is check to see if we're, like what value our food or play is at. And then there will be a % chance that our buddy will say something to remind us to feed it. So let's do the food first. So I'm going to go ahead and read. If read setting food as number is less than 50%, then we want to, and I don't want it to do this every time. I want it to do it just like a small percentage of the time. Otherwise, it's going to get pretty annoying. And like a 10% chance, then our buddy going to say, we're just going to wait until this happens. It's very terse. Let me up this to 20%, I think, and let's go ahead and do this for our play as well. I don't know. What's something for our buddy to say?
I must crunch numbers.
Can we make it actually bleep?
Yes. But it's going to be a lot of code.
Oh, never mind then.
I can make it do a quick bleep. Let's do a bidding. Does this block?
Wait, is Richard frozen?
Oh yeah,
okay.
that's extremely annoying.
Okay, never mind.
All right. Well, we got our basic kind of thing, but we should probably make this like way slower because it is pretty fast right now. And I'm going to change this to be a slightly shorter interval. I mean, slightly longer interval.
I like that
All
the
right.
text helps us know what we need to push, because otherwise it's confusing.
What are you talking about?
I don't see what's confusing about light bulb being food. All right, well, I think we should just end the stream here because I'd like to do some other stuff, but we're kind of running out of time, and I don't think I'd be able to do anything kind of substantial.
Mhm.
So I'm Richard, at Richard on the MakeCode forum.
I'm Daryl at Darzu on the MakeCode forum, and I found the unmute button.
I'm Shannon. I'm at Shakao on the MakeCode forum.
And I'm Vivian, at Lift Turtle on the MakeCode forum.
And real quick, what should we name this?
Oh. Mr. Kitschy.
Circuitrini.
Math is fun. Eat light bulbs.
I like math is fun.
There we go.
Maths,
Math
maybe,
is fun.
you know, with the S.
The British robot. All right, let me go ahead and real quick get a video of this. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody.